How are you doing, Sean?
Great to see you, Ryan. How's everything?
Great. I just want to give you a little introduction. Sean is a business development specialist at Kuttin Wealth Management, a firm I've been so lucky to join over this summer. He was a D1 lacrosse player at Yale, the 2018 Catholic High School Player of the Year in New York State, and he is our guest for this episode of Youth Leaders in Wealth Management. So, Sean, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you coming on. So, I just want to start. So what was it like to be a D1 athlete and preparing for a career in wealth management?
Yeah, I think being a D1 athlete was everything I wanted growing up. That was kind of the goal. Once I started playing lacrosse, locked my eyes in on want to play at the highest level, being D1. It was a great experience overall. Learned a lot of lessons along the way and all super applicable to the professional field. So I think the first thing that stands out is work ethic and commitment to your craft, and kind of consistency compounds. Story I tell kids I train all the time is you throw out a number out there, you say, who's going to get better? A kid that takes 300 shots once a week, or the kid that takes 80 shots every day of the week. And when you run the numbers and compound it, that 560 will build up over time. And it's just doing things over and over again, repeatedly. And, that relates to this field as well. Being young in my career, I'm kind of viewing it as, how do I recreate the success I had in lacrosse into this realm? So learn all the fundamentals right now and really chipping away at my craft and being a sponge, learning absolutely everything I can and coming in every day and being consistent with my output is super important, and hopefully will pay dividends in the end. We'll see. It's early on, but that's my goal right now, is kind of just using the work ethic that I learned through lacrosse, of just consistently chipping away at your craft. And then the other thing I'd say too is, it goes for everything in life, is leadership. It's one of my dad's biggest things, and one of the core values here at Kuttin Wealth is leadership, and it's being able to influence people to do something that they wouldn't do without your influence and guidance. And it relates to everything: relationships, your career, people who look up to you, people who may, be looking for advice, everything. And there's tons of different ways you could lead. My dad talks about, you could lead up, you could lead sideways, and you could lead down. And that's kind of something I've been working on my entire life with lacrosse, was always trying to be a great leader and be a friend for people first and foremost, and inspire other people around me to work super hard and be a great person and do those kind of things. It's the same thing here, where everything in the business development sphere and being a financial advisor is all about leadership. You're leading your client to retirement and fulfilling their goals. So you got to be able to lead them and influence them in the right direction to make the proper decisions for them to attain those goals and that happiness that they're looking for, and that security. So those are probably the two biggest takeaways I'd have from playing a D1 sport to being early in my career here, things that I want to focus on really developing.
That's awesome. I mean, I can totally see the leadership aspect on leading a lacrosse team and also leading a firm and trying to make your mark as a leader in wealth management. I could see the parallels there, which is super cool. So just a question I wanted to ask about, being a lacrosse athlete during COVID. What was it like coming in 2020 when, there was so much uncertainty? And I know a lot of athletes got like an extended year of eligibility. So what was that? What was your experience like at Yale there for going through that?
Yeah, it was a weird time for sure. We got shut down, I think, going into our fifth game, hopping into Ivy League play, and then the Ivy League didn't play in 2021. So our first season back was 2022. And it was a weird time for sure. It was not easy at times to stay super consistent with the work you're putting in. Just knowing that the end is not all that near. But overall, I think, I got in the best shape I'd ever been in during that time, and focused on my training, really, really developed that aspect, and came back in the best shape I had ever been in. So it was a weird time, but I think the biggest lesson is that anything could be taken. Some people, that was their senior year. It was my brother's senior year in high school. Didn't get to play his senior year in Chaminade. So it's just the cliche of you never know when it's going to be your last game or anything like that is super important to attack every day. It's the same thing with life. You never know if something traumatic is going to happen to you. So you got to count your blessings every day and be happy. Things could be way, way worse. One little thing is at Chaminade, there is the number 19 is given to a senior each year on the lacrosse team for Jimmy Regan, who went Chaminade, then went to Duke, and then was a Ranger and was killed in service. And his father was a coach for Chaminade when I was there, and just means a lot to me and would always put things in perspective for me. If I thought I was having a bad day or something like that, it could be way, way worse. There's people that are putting their lives on the line every day, and playing a sport or working a job, you got to count your blessings and really, really be appreciative for every day that you're gifted on this earth, because you never necessarily know when it's going to be your last. So I think it's super important to have that gratitude and attack every day with enthusiasm and count your blessings.
Absolutely. I was a senior in high school when 2020 happens, and I lost my senior season in wrestling. And, I was just coming up. I was really excited for what I was going to be able to do, hopefully be an all county, all state wrestler as my senior year. And, that gets taken away from you. And then all of a sudden you're like, everything that you worked hard for is gone. And it makes you feel a lot more gratitude for the things that you do have. And I think that's a great takeaway. So I appreciate you giving us some insight on that. So I just want to get a little bit into what you do as on a day-to-day basis as a business development specialist.
Yeah. So day to day, it's a lot of focus on outreach. So inside of Kuttin Wealth, I started out specifically just focusing on reaching out to accounting firms and CPA firms to see if there's any possibility in developing a relationship together. Part of our firm at our core, we're a financial planning firm. So it's figuring out your short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. And that's also implementing tax planning and tax strategy. So having those accountants in the room with the advisor is super, super important to be able to make sure they're on the same page and find the best solutions for the client. So originally started out just reaching out to CPAs, see if there's a way we could have a mutually beneficial relationship, whether that's some of our clients might need a new accountant or getting their expertise on a certain matter, and then also being able to serve their clients with financial planning and everything along those lines. So a lot of outreach goes into it, whether that's cold calls, emails, LinkedIn, utilizing all those things. And then we've kind of developed as a firm a good amount. So the next step of what I've been focusing on is reaching out to accounting firms and seeing if they're open to being acquired. We're looking to recreate Kuttin Wealth 2.0 inside the accounting industry. So being able to reach out to them and see if that's an opportunity. There's stats out there that 70% of CPAs are going to be retiring within the next 6 to 7 years. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there to be able to do that. And we're looking to provide that one-stop shop for our clients. So being able to have great CPA firms at our clients' disposal is super, super important. And then the last part is we have essentially a family office. So we have other companies outside the wealth management firm that all relate to the financial services industry. So we have an AI bookkeeping company, an outsourced CFO. We have Cultivate Advisors, which is a small business coaching company. They have 60 coaches on staff. Every coach has exited their small business for 7-8 figure checks. And they come in here and they kind of put the small business through a health check, kind of like if you're going to the doctor. They find the weaknesses, they find what's wrong, what's not, and seeing what their company could be valued at and where they need to grow and everything like that to prepare them for eventually exiting. And that really ties well into financial planning, because a lot of these small business owners have their entire net worth for the most part tied up into their small business. And they don't necessarily think about exiting their company until they're ready to do so. But a lot of times small business owners will overestimate what their company could be worth. It's a personal attachment. It's their baby. So it's a very emotional thing as well. So being able to implement that with the financial planning is super, super important, and something that we're super excited and proud of to be able to offer to our clients, being able to have a firm that we vetted and work super closely with to be able to do that with them. So it's finding opportunities within inside our own organization for clients that might benefit from that. It's looking inside of their organization, seeing if any of their clients can benefit from financial planning and asset management. So it's deepening all of those relationships. We have some other relationships out there as well inside the family office. So looking for opportunities inside of all those companies and seeing if there's any other mergers and acquisitions we can do inside of that. And then Kuttin Wealth has done over 50 acquisitions in the last 4 years of other wealth management firms. So being on the lookout for opportunities in that realm as well is something I do too. So it's a lot of different things. It's cool being able to have my hand in a bunch of different directions and be able to provide value wherever I can. So it's kind of just, it's making the most of what you can with the opportunity you're given, and very blessed to have an opportunity to do a bunch of different things here. So it's exciting. It's a lot. And it's all, like I said earlier, it boils down to your work ethic and being consistent with it, making 100 calls a day or making 100 calls a week. You're going to see more results by being consistent with it and really driving at it.
Absolutely. I mean, two things that I really found interesting from what you said was that, 70% of CPAs might be retiring in the next 7 years. That's really crazy. And I think that your guys' relationship building with CPAs is so interesting and such a cool factor that you guys have been able to use to grow your business that I don't really see too many financial planning firms or wealth management firms tapping into like you guys have. And I think that's part of the reason why you guys have become so big, which I think is so awesome. I like it a lot that you have multiple things that you can do on a daily basis and that you're not like bogged down to one thing. And also the fact that you're not necessarily like financial planning like you would think in a traditional wealth management firm. Like that's not the only thing that you guys do, and that's not what everyone's doing. So I think that's cool as well, that there's other opportunities in wealth management firms besides what you traditionally may think is available to you. That's awesome. So I've been going through the Financial Advisor Success Syndicate that your dad and some other people have created, which has been really awesome. And one thing that they talked about was service. And I liked what they said. I think it was like being the Ritz-Carlton in wealth management, providing an excellent client service that will get you referrals and leave a positive taste in people's mind. So what does Kuttin do to earn the title of Barron's Hall of Fame Private Wealth Management Team? Does that play into the Ritz-Carlton level of service that you guys provide, or is there other aspects that we may not see on the surface?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. So to be a Barron's Hall of Fame practice, you got to be on that Barron's list for 10 years. So the firm has done that, and it's a lot of things. I think being able to, this business is all about relationships, and providing, our tagline here is providing our clients for the certainty of uncertainty and helping our clients achieve happiness, simplicity, and success and security. So being able to do those things, they're great taglines, but what do you actually do about it is super important. So we have follow-up emails going out within 24 hours. We have client meetings being set up. One thing that we're big on here is random acts of kindness. So it might be sending flowers to a client for some special event that they have going on. It might be happy birthday letters, handwritten notes, all those things. We have a very, very long, I believe, 72-step process from the time a client meets with us in an introductory meeting to the time they become a client. So there's a ton of different things that go on. And then it also ties back to what we were touching on earlier with being able to have that one-stop shop and really be able to give all these things to our clients and have all these resources at their disposal is super, super telling, and kind of what any high net worth or any person would really want, is where they don't have to be talking to a bunch of different people about their finances and everything. They have it right here. And we view all clients as an extension of our family. They're part of the Kuttin Wealth family, and providing that kind of service and expertise is super, super important. I mean, I think it's a complete testament to my father. he's built this company from the ground up with great help from all the other people that have been here for a long time and continuing to grow, bringing on new talent and hungry individuals who are great at what they do and really care about the clients is super, super important. So it's just the little things like handwritten notes, sending cards, sending a birthday cake, whatever it may be, to show them that you do truly care about them and are in touch with everything going on in their lives, is super, super vital. And I think that's probably what has been able to help us get to that level. But that also ties back into leadership and being able to lead the entire organization the way my father has, to be able to do those kind of things, right? Anybody can just handle the money, write the financial plan, have a meeting 2-3 times a year and call it a day. We look to differentiate ourselves and go a little bit deeper on that. And that's a testament to my father and the vision he's had for this firm, and it's come to fruition. And, Kuttin Wealth's goal over the next 9.5 years now is to get to 60 billion AUM, 500 million in revenue. So we operate on EOS. Good book called Traction kind of dives into that. And you kind of come up with a VTO, visionary tracking order. And you go from there where our foot's on the gas, not looking to slow down. And I think one of the things my father doesn't want to get lost with all this growth going on is the bootstrapping that went on, for the first 15 years, trying to get to that first billion is that really, really personal touch to the clients. So we've got big plans for growth, and that just ties in more so into the leadership and being able to make sure all of the table stakes things that we do here doesn't get lost the bigger we grow.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that. The personal touches, the birthday cakes, the handwritten notes are something that will definitely stay in a client's mind when they're thinking about telling their friends about financial planning firms and, how they manage their money. I think is a great first step. And, the bootstrapping that your father did in the first 15 years is so important to the company and what they built that you don't want to forget that as you get bigger, which is so important as well. So then kind of a final point if you had one piece of advice that you could give to students that are looking to come up in the wealth management industry to be on a successful path, what would you tell them to do?
It's a great question. I think, I'm still trying to figure it out myself as well, being young in my career, but being kind of inside of this industry since birth, essentially, and being able to go to conferences with my dad since I was 7-8 years old and being able to see everything. I think the biggest thing is just leadership. And my dad would say the same thing. It's being able to influence other people in the right manner and really becoming a great person. The more well-rounded you can be is super, super important. Personal development is a big focus of mine right now. And being able to just lead other people and lead your clients through things and give them the confidence and security in the decisions you're recommending for them is super important. I think will pay off in dividends down the line, being able to do that and then eventually be able to lead other people underneath you to be able to have the success that you may have, and learn from them as well. I think it's also being humble and knowing that you can learn from everybody in any interaction, any industry. It doesn't matter. It could all tie in some way, shape, or form. And really just diving into leadership would be my biggest piece of advice.
That's great. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you coming on today. You provided us with a lot of really valuable insight, and I can't thank you enough for coming on, Sean.
Of course, an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to the summer together. We'll have some good fun.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.